Well, hello, welcome back to Tale 3 Cabins. If you watched my videos, you know that we took an extended RV trip back in September and October, and I had some issues with the Pro Power on board on my pickup truck, which is a generator system on my Ford F-250 that did not play well with my RV, and I've had problems with it ever since I got the truck and ever since we tried using it with the RV. I had brought a portable power station with me, and that was just a lot of hoops to jump through when we had days where we didn't have a lot of solar coming to our solar panels on the roof. And I determined that I really just need to carry a generator. Now, I used to carry generators in the past. When we went out west, we did a lot of boondocking, and I carried it was a Furman, and it was rather large, weighed over 100 pounds. I think it was about 107 pounds to be exact. That's without any fuel in it. And that's kind of hefty to be hauling around, and it also takes up a little bit of room. So I was looking for something that could still run my air conditioner, still hook up to the RV, and be a little bit more portable and a little bit higher on the wattage side. Usually generators of this size are around the 2,000 watt range, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, 1,800 to 2,400 watts. But anyways, this is a PROYAMA 4000i inverter generator. I've seen generators like this in this price range. This comes in right around $400. So I thought I'd pick this up, test it out, see if it'd be worthy of us taking on an RV trip, if it can handle the RV air conditioner and some other functions. And then also, would it make a good backup generator? So we're going to cover all that. We're going to go through the features, what you're going to get for $400. It's a mystery to me, and let's just find this out together. Okay, so the unboxing went well. Everything was packed nice and snug in there. There was no room for this to get scratched or cracked or anything like that. So unboxing was uneventful. Everything was packed nice, tightly and snugged in there. The very first thing on the top was your accessories, and it comes with a RV power adapter for the 30 amp plug on your RV. Now, real quick, we're going to go over the features, but you may not notice you don't see any USB plugs here, but this does have a DC plug adapter that plugs into here, and that does allow to give you two USB-A plugs. It also has a funnel which is threaded, which is nice. So when you go to fill this up with oil, you're not going to leak things. When you're using a regular funnel, sometimes this stuff will overflow or just come out the sides and be a little bit messier. So that is nice. This does not come with oil inside of it, and it does not come with oil for you to put in it. So you have to have your own oil. It does use 10W30 oil, and we'll get to installing that in a second. It comes with a cover. And I do like when generators, or even power stations for that matter, give you a cover to protect it with. And you might not think it's much of a big deal, but when we were traveling out west, it was so darn dusty out there that everything in the back of my truck, even though the tonneau cover was closed and the tailgate was closed, got a nice layer of dirt on it. Also, I mentioned that this really doesn't need any tools. It does come with a spark plug wrench if you need to remove the spark plug. And then it has a screwdriver also. And then lastly, the PROYAMA manual. A brief overview. Start on this side and work my way around. On the top you have your fuel fill cap. It does have an on-off switch for the vent, which is another nice thing. So if you are transporting this and things are sloshing around, you can seal that fuel up a little bit better. There is a filter screen in there to keep out sediment when you're pouring gasoline into this. And it's just gasoline. It is not propane. It's not a dual fuel generator. Then down here is your pull start. We come around to the front. We work our way to the top. While this is running, you have a light that you can use. So you have a light here. So when you're plugging stuff in, you can turn that on to assist you at night when you can't see very well. You have various reset buttons here for different amperages. Over here is a grounding connection if you want to ground this. Then you have your regular 20 amp 110 connections. 2 outlets for that, and then this here is your RV outlet. Now this is the twist connector on here. They do give you an adapter so you can use your regular RV plug. Next is a digital screen over here, so you have your fuel level. It'll show you in increments of LED lights what your fuel level is. There is a digital screen here. It'll show you your voltage, the frequency of that voltage, and also the time. So the time is not the time left with gasoline, how much you have left, but time is the number of hours that you have been using the generator. So that's helpful for maintenance to let you know that your break-in period is over, you need to change oil, and then you can keep track just how long in between oil changes by that hour gauge. This would be for your starting. So right now we're off. This would be in the choke position here for starting. and then this would be run once you get it started up. Down here is a carbon monoxide light, so if CO were to start to build up in an area, like let's say you had it sitting in the back of your truck and maybe you had the tailgate down and you're trying to protect it from the weather, if carbon monoxide were to build up in that area, this is going to shut down on you. Then you have a low idle, so if you're not using a lot of electricity, you can put the low idle on. Over here again is your DC connection that I mentioned earlier, where you can add your USB-A ports. This can also be hooked up to another PROYAMA generator with a parallel connection here if you want to increase the wattage to this. So if we come around to this side on the top, you have an easy to get to spark plug area that you just pull this little cover off and you can get to the spark plug if it should need cleaning or maintenance there. And then you have a couple screws that you take off here for this side panel to maintain your air filter and then also add or change your oil. In the back is where the exhaust is and the muffler is, and you can see that there is a spark arrestor built into the exhaust. And that's about it as we go around here. So let me get some oil into it. I'll try to start it up. We'll see how many pulls it takes for the first start. Here is a dipstick. It's got a magnetic tip to it. I screw in the funnel. That is convenient. And I just so happen I do have some 10W30 oil here. I have this that I've used from our other generators when I changed the oil. This calls for 0.4 liters of oil, which equates to about 14 ounces. So I'm just gonna use most of this up, if not all of it. So this takes 3.6 liters of fuel, or just shy of 1 gallon. Actually 0.95 gallons, if you want to be exact. Again, it's no propane, single fuel generator. So we're going to go over the starting procedure here. Make sure you have no loads attached to your generator, so nothing is plugged in right now. Turn the ventilation knob to on top here. Switch to low idle in the off position. All right. Next, we're going to turn this into the choke position, which would be all the way clockwise. So just gently pull this to make sure everything is properly hooked up and then rigorously give it a pull. I think I shut the choke off a little too quick. Just get a closer look at what's going on. There is your model electricity graph. There is your LED for power. That's the voltage. That's the frequency. And then that's the time. Here is your little view light. And then this is your fuel level over here. All right, so we're right around 60 decibels at low idle right now. Let me go kick it up to higher idle. Right around 62. All right, we're going to start out with just a few basics here. I have had a few power stations that would say overload, even though there was no reason for it to overload when I would hook it up to my RV. I think it's just the way the wiring is for my RV. Some generators and power stations, and especially the one in my truck, don't like it. So I'm crossing my fingers that we're going to be okay using this generator. So let's give that a try first. Let's turn some lights on here. Oh, I do need to push this slide out. hear the generator running out there. And I'm going to turn this heater on. So the heater's 1500 watts and the RV is pulling about 700 watts charging the battery. And right now it's at 50% on the left there if you look at the gauge. Time. You can see, really hear that generator ramp up out there. So I wouldn't venture to say that running the microwave and the air conditioner at the same time is going to work. I wouldn't even attempt it. But just to give you an idea, I have a space heater on, I have the microwave going. So that is capable. It's ramped up, but it didn't overload. Also, you got to take into account for all the lights that I have in here, and the converter is also charging the battery at the same time. That's going to vary depending just how charged up the battery is. Drop the temperature down as low as we can go. All right, there's the fan kicking on, and we should know when the air conditioner clicks on outside, we'll hear a good ramp up. There goes the compressor. Looks like it was just a quick little jolt. The compressor fired up quickly. Now we're running the AC. There was a little jump in the spike of the graph of the generator, but it was very short-lived, maybe a second at the most. So right now the generator is running the air conditioner. This is a 15,000 BTU air conditioner. Your RV is going to vary. Some are 13,500. Some units have 2 air conditioners in them, but you're not going to run 2 air conditioners off of this. So right now it is running the AC with no issues. So it does have enough power for the AC to get it over the hump when it first starts up to get that condenser going. Now that it's lower, odds are I could use the microwave right now without overloading the generator or make a cup of coffee in the coffee maker. Only time that I would be leery is when that compressor shuts off and then recycles back on, and then you're going to have that jolt of power that it's going to need to ramp up for that condenser to start up. But right now it is working as it should. Okay, so the air conditioner worked just fine. I think we can take this on our travels and be happy. One drawback of having a generator of this size and compactability is that the fuel tank is going to be smaller. As I said, it's less than a gallon. So you're only going to get about 5 hours of run time out of it, and that's going to vary depending on what type of load that you have on here. Now when the air conditioner first started, this peaked up really quick and then it jumped right down. So I would venture that running the AC, and if you're not running too many other appliances inside the RV itself, that you will get close to 5 hours of runtime out of this. Another nice feature is the weight. This is right around 47 pounds. My other generator that we used to take with us weighed around 107 pounds. A big deal to lug around. I used to just leave it in the back of the pickup truck, and if I didn't have to move it, I didn't at all, and I tried to keep it and run it in there. But occasionally I would have that CO alarm going off because of the circulation and the way the wind was blowing. So this at least is more easy to lug around. I could take it farther away from the RV. It's more mobile. No problem taking it and putting it in and out of the pickup truck. Okay, just to test out these outlets, I pulled out my multi-tester and it is showing 124 volts on the output. And then it is a pure sine wave and it looks pretty darn clean. I have both AC outlets used up with a shop vac and then a chop saw. So let's start up the generator. I don't have the choke on because it was warmed up, but I might have to turn it on. Start with the shop vac. Now the chop saw. So if you plan on using this on a job site, you can definitely use 2 high wattage power driven devices, the chop saw here and the shop vac. So the RV scenario works just fine. The job site scenario works just fine. And then I would say for home backup, this is going to be great for a short-term power outage. I think when it comes to generators of this size, your best scenario with a power outage is to have a portable power station, something like this, that's a fairly good size, and then a generator like this. The reason I say that, when you're in a power outage situation, you primarily care about your refrigerator, maybe run the TV, charging some devices, a fan, and you don't want to get too crazy. If you want to run an air conditioner or a space heater for 10 to 12 hours, well, this would have to be running constantly. You would probably have to gas it up a couple times. These would have run out very quick. When you're only using that TV, the refrigerator, and a few other devices, and maybe a fan, you're talking 300 to 400 watts that you're using in that period. So if you're thinking about 3,000 watts, you're using 300 watts, let's say 400 watts. It's probably easier, more economical in the long run, quieter at night, less noise all day long. If you can fire up your generator, power up your power station, then let your power station run for possibly 24 hours to handle those devices that I just talked about. And if you don't have any solar panels and this thing drains by the morning, then you fire this back up again, charge it, and you're good for another day. This is not running constantly. You only need to run it for an hour to 90 minutes on most of these power stations. They can usually top off pretty quick, 1 hour, 2 hours tops. So you cut down on the running time of this, you cut down on the noise, you cut down on the fumes. This will take care of most everything you need to take care of all day long, and then you just fire this thing back up as you need it. Most of the time it would just be once a day. So that's the perfect scenario, a generator of this size. Now I myself prefer to have the gasoline version of a generator as opposed to propane. Gasoline usually gives you more wattage when it's compared with the propane side of a generator. We carry a 5-gallon gas can with us, and that 5-gallon gas can could also be a backup if we should run out of fuel in our vehicle. So having dual fuel is not that big an option for us. Of course, if you add that option or you want that option, you're going to pay more for a generator, and it's going to go up and up and up as you add more features. Maybe you want electric start. Well, that's going to make it a bit more pricier. Again, this is right in around $400. It's economical, and it's going to do and take care of what we need it to do. As for warranty, it has a 1-year warranty. As for longevity, well, that's anybody's guess right now. I can only show you and present to you what I can do here. I have 5 hours on it, and I'm going to continue to put hours on it. And if something should happen, I will update you. I'll leave some information in the description below, any links, and if I can get any coupon codes. But that is going to do it for today. I appreciate everybody watching. I hope you enjoy and subscribe to these videos. Click on that little bell when you want to know when new one's coming out, and keep an eye on us. Take care, everybody.